everything in this world revolving around money, athletes and entertainment figures seem to be the center of attention, especially NBA players. Role players and deep bench guys in the NBA are making up to $12 million at times. This is more than athletes in any other sport make in similar roles. So with role players making multiple millions, where does that put the best of the best? Welcome to NBA Zone, and in today's video, we'll be going over the biggest money makers in the league and discussing the 10 highest paid NBA players in 2020. Before we start, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel and that you have your notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on a single video. Now let's get started. At number 10, we have Damian Lillard. Dame Time starts us off bringing in $64.2 million from his NBA contract and $20.5 million from endorsements. Coming out of high school, Lillard was listed as a 2-star recruit. He would then attend small-time Weber State University in Utah. There's no way Lillard could have seen this type of earnings coming. Lillard would start off his career with the Blazers and has been with them in all 8 years since. Over his career so far, he's averaging 24 points and 6.5 assists per game. He's been an All-Star 5 times and a 4-time All-NBA selection. He's considered to be one of the top point guards in the league and has carried the Portland Trailblazers franchise deep into the playoffs in recent years. Back in 2014, Lillard would sign a huge contract with the Adidas brand. The deal would reportedly be worth $100 million over a span of 10 years. Dame is certainly making buku bucks, and I think this backs up his nickname, Dame Dollar. At number 9, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis is bringing in $67.1 million from his NBA contract and $2.3 million from endorsements. Giannis would grow up in Greece where he would sell jewelry and other trinkets for money just to help his family get by. Much like Lillard, the odds were stacked up against him, so there's no way Giannis could have seen this financial outcome happening. Giannis would start his career off with the Bucks and was considered to be very much a project, as he was very thin with not much strength to his 6'9" frame. Over his career so far, he's averaging 20 points, 8.9 rebounds, and 4.3 assists per game. He's been an All-Star 4 times, a 3-time All-NBA selection, and just last season won his first MVP. He's considered to be the future of the league and has a chance to be one of the greatest to ever do it by the time it's all said and done. Back in 2017, Giannis would sign a long-term deal with Nike. Then in July of 2019, his first signature shoe would release, the Zoom Freak 1s. I'm sure Giannis's earnings will continue to increase over time, as he's on pace to be one of the GOATs for sure. At number 8, we have Chris Paul. CP3 is bringing in $68.1 million from his NBA contract and $11.7 million from endorsement. He would start his career off with the New Orleans Hornets. After making a name for himself as one of the best pure point guards in the game, he would then be shipped to the LA Clippers. And after a short, less than desirable stint in Houston, he would make his way to where he is today in OKC. Over his career so far, he's averaging 18.5 points and 9.5 assists per game. He's been an All-Star 10 times, an 8-time All-NBA selection, and a 9-time All-Defensive selection. Paul is the epitome of what it means to be a crafty veteran. He's never had elite athleticism, so he makes up for it with crafty ball skills and a supreme knowledge for the game. All the way back in 2006, Paul would sign a deal with Jordan Brand that still stands to this day. He has his own line of signature shoes within the brand, in which he's released over 13 signature shoes. Paul's days of earning the biggest of bucks in the NBA probably be coming to an end soon, but he's certainly had a fantastic career, not only on the court, but financially as well. At number 7, we have Klay Thompson. Klay is bringing in $69.9 million from his NBA contract and $21.9 million from endorsement. Klay has been a member of the Warriors ever since entering the league back in 2011. He's made a name for himself being one of the greatest shooters of all time, if not the second greatest shooter of all time, behind his fellow Splash brother Steph Curry. Over his career so far, he's averaging 19.5 points per game, shooting over 40% from 3. He's been an All-Star 5 times, a 2-time All-NBA selection, and a 3-time NBA champion. What's crazy is that Klay could probably be one of the league's leading scorers on most teams in the NBA, but he continues to play his role as an elite shooter for the Warriors. Back in 2017, Klay would sign a deal with Chinese brand Anta. He has his own signature shoes with the company too, starting with the KT series. It will be interesting to see how Klay comes back after sitting the season with an injury. If he's anything like he was, I'm sure he'll keep raising that net worth. At number 6, we have Kyrie Irving. Kyrie is bringing in $46.4 million from his NBA contract and $29.3 million from endorsements. Kyrie began his career with the Cavs back in 2011 and ever since has bounced around a bit, including stints in Boston and Brooklyn. He's made a name for himself being one of the greatest ball handlers, if not the greatest ball handler of all time. He's one of the most dominant scorers in the NBA today and has proven that he can carry a team offensively when they need it. Over his career so far, he's averaging 22.1 8.4 points and 5.7 assists per game. He's been an All-Star 6 times, a 2-time All-NBA selection, and a 1-time NBA champion. In recent years, Kyrie's leadership skills have been questioned, as some think that he can't be the best player on a winning team. Regardless, you can't deny the man's skill. Kyrie is under a brand deal with Nike that has him bringing in $11 million a year. He has his own signature shoes with Nike too, and they're easily some of the hottest shoes within the brand. Kyrie has a long road ahead of him on his journey to leading his own team to an NBA title. If he ever gets it though, he's sure to make that dough. At number 5, we have James Harden. Harden is bringing in $56 million from his NBA contract and $24.8 million from endorsements. After making a career as one of the best 6 men in the history of the NBA, Harden would be dealt to the Houston Rockets, where he would solidify himself as one of the game's biggest stars. He's easily one of the most dominant scorers in the history of the NBA. Before this season was suspended, Harden was averaging 34.4 points and 7.4 assists per game. He's been an All-Star 8 times, a 6-time All-NBA selection, and he won the league MVP back in 2018. He's still in search for that first championship, and if it's going to be with the Rockets, it's going to have to happen soon. Back in August of 2015, Harden would sign a deal with Adidas that's worth about $200 million. He of course has his own signature shoes with the company too, them being some of the more popular shoes Adidas has to offer. Unfortunately for Harden, shoes don't win championships, and championships build legacy. So what will Harden's fate be? At number 4, we have Russell Westbrook. Russ is bringing in $56.4 million from his NBA contract and $26 million from endorsements. Russ was a loyal member of the OKC Thunder for the first 10 years of his career, until things went south in OKC. That's when he would take his talents to Houston to chase a ring. He's made a name for himself, being one of the most explosive athletes to ever play the game, as well as one of the best leaders in the game. Over his career so far, he's averaging 23.2 points, 8.3 assists, and 7.1 rebounds per game. He's been an All-Star 9 times, an 8-time All-NBA selection, and was the 2017 league MVP. Russ is one of the fiercest competitors we've ever seen in the NBA, and it comes off as angry on the court, especially when he's throwing down dunks. Back in 2017, Russ signed a 10-year extension with Jordan Brand. His Why Not series of shoes with the brand have not only become popular basketball shoes, but popular in the world of fashion, which is a given with Westbrook, as he's a very fashionable guy. But we'll see how far he can take his NBA success. At number 3, we have Kevin Durant. KD is bringing in $56 million from his NBA contract and $51.3 million from endorsements. Fans thought KD was loyal to OKC until he jumped ship to Golden State. He's now sitting out with injuries on the Nets. Kevin Durant is not only one of the greatest scorers of all time, but he's certainly one of the greatest players we've ever seen. Over his career so far, he's averaging 27 points per game, shooting almost 50% from the field. He's been an All-Star 10 times, a 9-time All-NBA selection, and was the 2014 NBA MVP. Who cares how much of a bandwagon KD might be? He's an elite talent that we may never see the likes of again. He has a deal with Nike that's worth up to $300 million. His KD signature shoe series is one of the most popular in the brand. It will be interesting to see where KD's skills will be at upon his return from his Achilles injury. At number 2, we have Stephen Curry. Steph is bringing in $58.9 million from his NBA contract and $66 million from endorsements. Steph has been an absolutely loyal member of the Golden State Warriors ever since entering the league back in 2009. He's almost unanimously considered to be the greatest shooter in the history of basketball. Over his career so far, he's averaging 23.5 points and 6.6 assists per game. He's been an All-Star 6 times, a 6-time All-NBA selection, a 2-time league MVP, and a 3-time NBA champion. If it wasn't for numerous ankle injuries, I wonder where Steph would be right now. He could have been even better than he is. Back in 2015, Steph would sign an extension with Under Armour worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He has his own signature shoes with the company, and if it wasn't for Steph, I'm not sure Under Armour would even be a viable brand in the world of basketball. Also, if it wasn't for Steph, who knows where the NBA would even be right now. Now finally at number 1, we have LeBron James. LeBron's bringing in $54.8 million from his NBA contract, $80.6 million from his endorsements. After a career full of interesting choices, LeBron now plays for the Los Angeles Lakers. He's one of the most dominant players in the history of the game, some considering him to be the absolute greatest to ever play the game. Over his career so far, he's averaging 27.1 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 7.4 assists a game, while shooting over over 50% from the field. He's been an All-Star 16 times, a 15-time All-NBA selection, a 4-time League MVP, and a 3-time NBA champion. The debate between who's the greatest, LeBron or Jordan, will be a long-lasting one that may be never-ending. LeBron reportedly has a lifelong deal with Nike that's worth more than a whopping $1 billion. His name makes a ridiculous amount of money for Nike alone, so LeBron's name, you can almost say, is invaluable. I just can't wait to the end of his career to really see where he stacks up all time. So that's gonna do it for today's video. What do you guys think of these moneymakers? Let us know down in the comments section below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, then make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.